Sports are more than just a competition and a trophy. Sports are a portal for everyday people to pursue their wildest dreams on some of the world's largest stages. My name is Riley Sager, and I'll be taking you along with me as I hear from SBC and VSL alumni who pursued a career in the business of sports. In this series, I will sit down with guests to discuss strategies for entering the sports world and what you can do to differentiate yourself in the industry. From playing to coaching to broadcasting, the common denominator for any job in sports is the ability to push oneself to become a master at their craft while connecting with others who share that same passion to be great. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the SBC audio experience. Today, we're excited to feature SBC alum Erica Brunson, who currently works as a client and marketing services professional at leading entertainment and sports agency CAA. Erica graduated from Villanova University in 2023 with a degree in communications and a minor in education. During her time in school, she gained hands-on experience interning with the Dallas Mavericks social media team in 2022. After attending the SBC 2023 Immersive in Las Vegas, Erica's passion for sports business led her to land her first full-time role at CAA in June 2024. In addition to her professional work, Erica is involved in her older brother's charity, the Second Round Foundation, which empowers young people to determine their own success no matter their background. We're thrilled to have Erica with us today to discuss her path from Villanova to CAA, her experience as an SBC alum, and how she balances her career with her charitable efforts. Erica, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of SBC Audio Experience. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Erica, you've had an amazing career so far in the business of sports. You just graduated from Villanova University last year. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Then what initially sparked your interest to go into the business side of sports?
I would say what initially sparked it was when I stopped playing sports after high school and realized, I don't want to, participate in a sport past that. I played sports my entire life, and I just stuck to basketball in high school, and I loved it, but it's a huge commitment past high school. Yep. And I wasn't ready for that commitment, and I just really wanted to enjoy my college time, and best decision ever. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I wanted to look at, what goes on behind the scenes and what makes, the sports world so special.
Mm-hmm. How did your communications degree at Villanova help you kind of shape what you wanted out of your career?
Well, at first, when I was looking at what school I wanted to go to, I was looking at sports marketing majors or programs in sports management, stuff like that. But not all the schools that I was looking at really had that as a major. And I was really interested in Villanova, and I decided to do the communications route because it was so open and there's so many different avenues you can take with it. And I really got to touch on so many different things, from media to journalism to production to advertising, PR. I really touch on everything, and it's super helpful now because I see all of that basically every day.
Was there an element of your Villanova communications degree that you were surprised by, that you didn't know you'd fall in love with?
Honestly, yeah. I took the only sports class I ever took at Villanova was sports journalism, and I was surprised at how much I liked writing about sports. And it's a very different, journalism is separate from sports journalism. They're really different in terms of writing style. So I really enjoyed doing that. I knew I would never really do that in the professional world, but it was fun to kind of take a stab at it and get to write on some cool stories and present day sports stuff.
Mm-hmm. You also got experience in social media. In 2022, you interned with the Dallas Mavericks on their social media team. Can you walk us through what that internship was like, what your role was, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so The summer going into my senior year of college, I took an internship with the Dallas Mavericks, and I thought, well, one, I'm from Jersey, so it was far, but I thought this was like a perfect time to temporarily live somewhere and really have those strings attached. So I took advantage of the opportunity to be away from home and be in a new city. But it was real being able to work on the team side of things. And, their department, their social media group is amazing. It's woman-led, and I felt very inspired. And it was super hands-on. They were very supportive. I was there for about 10 weeks. I really enjoyed my time. I, got to see what it's important to Summer League, what it's important to Media Day. And even though it's the off season, it's you really got to work extra hard because it's not that much content to put out. So it was a great experience, and I made a lot of long connections, and I still talk to my Mavs family to this day. Yeah, it was great, and it really prepared me for what I do now and other stuff that I did into my senior year.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that you've graduated, you're now working at CAA, which is a very prestigious agency, and working in client and marketing services. So how did your role at the Mavericks help shape what you're doing now and what you enjoy doing?
Well, the good thing about an internship is you really get to experience what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And I realized after being in Dallas for the short summer, I enjoyed the creative side of things, but I also noticed my strengths. And a big strength of mine is talking with people. And, I fell into the agency side and fell into this role where I communicate with people on a daily basis, whether they're strangers, whether they're colleagues I know very well. But being in social media, you kind of have to have a bit of an extrovert personality if you're the ones that are going out there to capture the content. And I am no extrovert. I'm really an introvert. So I really put myself out there. But when it comes to sitting down and talking with people and really trying to create something out of nothing or from scratch, it was really helpful to kind of take that and transition it into what I'm doing now.
Are you surprised by how much it's helped you, kind of step into that extrovert role where you weren't so much before?
I am, but I think it also just becomes natural. You gotta just, it's like, when you start high school or college or a new job and you enter a new environment with new people, they don't know you, so you really just gotta throw yourself out there and see what you get. So I'm a little surprised, and I say people that know me are surprised how talkative I can be at work or in space like this, because normally I'm not. But it's a good, you lean into discomfort, and it's a good feeling to be uncomfortable sometimes.
You also attended SBC last summer, so I'm sure that helped you prepare, just speaking to people, getting out of your comfort shell.
Yeah, that definitely did. I knew 2 people there going into SBC, and we were in the middle of Las Vegas, and I was fresh out of college and had no idea really what direction I was going in. But it definitely did help, and you're forced to talk to a bunch of people you don't know from all different parts of life, people who are still in school that just graduated or are shifting careers, so it was very helpful.
Can you touch on that experience a bit? What were your greatest takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the week felt like a whirlwind. It didn't even happen because so much was on within 7 days. And I was on the media side of things, and we tend to have the longer days compared to everyone else, kind of like the last ones out the building. I loved my experience because I did something I'd never done before, which was production. And I was really intrigued by it because I wasn't able to do that in college. And, being in the space I'm in, I wanted to have knowledge on every little corner as possible in the event I am on set for something that I know what's going on. I kind of know the language that's being used around me. I'm not just confused. But the whole experience was great. I mean, the people I worked with just gave me the keys and were like, go ahead, you're going to produce this show. And I was like, I've never in my life produced a single thing. I have no idea what this keyboard is. I have no idea what this software is. But, you know, that's how you learn. You learn by just getting thrown into something and adapting quick and trying to figure it out. I'll go. And at the end of the week, I was doing everything pretty much by myself. And, you know, besides the hands-on stuff that I did, all of, you know, the guests we had, the speakers, the activities and like workshops we worked on were full of incredible knowledge that I didn't even know. And I consider myself pretty well-versed in the basketball world, on and off the court, but there's so much that I didn't know and I still don't know, and things are constantly changing. So it's really something you got to keep up with, and everyone there knows their stuff. So I had a great time, and it was the long 7 days, but also didn't feel like it was long enough. I feel like I could have been there for a couple more weeks.
Yeah. You talked about the relationships you made and then the guest speakers, the lectures. So a lot of great opportunities. But what are some of those key aspects that differentiates SBC from maybe other programs in the industry?
You really get a front row seat to everything. Like, you get access to anyone you could really want in the field you're looking to be in. Like, you know, I had a one-on-one meeting with someone who runs Twitter for NBA. And at the time, I was really focused on social media and focused on that area of things. And that one-on-one with him made me think bigger picture, like, don't put myself in a box of, you know, I want to do social media. Like, you know, keep yourself open to other opportunities. And he was right. You know, I'm not currently in a social media specific role. So I would say in comparison to other programs, like, I don't think you really get the focus, you know, like one-on-one treatment as I did last summer. There were a lot of people, and I think it was the largest group they had at the time. So even though there was a lot of people there, we were all able to get that experience and really feel like one person was listening to us, and we were able to ask any question or get insight and keep those connections after SBC was over.
Yeah, there are a lot of students from all different kinds of backgrounds, age, gender, you know, maybe what part of the industry they want to go into. But what are a few things that you all had in common that you're like, wow, like, we just share this, you know, other than like the passion for sports business? Is there a characteristic or just something that you guys really bonded over?
I mean, you know, I got, you know, pretty close with the group that I was assigned to when I was there. And it's funny because about a month ago or maybe 2 months ago, we all hopped on a call together just to catch up. And we're like random strangers from across the U.S. And we still decided, like, in the middle of the summer to catch up with each other. I think we just bonded over the fact that we all ironically decided to be here, and we're placed here together in this group, and we all share a common love of basketball. And that's what we bonded over, simple things like that. But outside of that, once we really got to know each other, we found other similarities. But just a simple enjoyment of liking the sport went a really long way.
Yeah, the week does go by really quick. I mean, the days feel long because you're always doing stuff. There's a million things going on, but by the end of it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's over. So looking back, what's your most fun memory?
The mock trade deadline, I'm pretty sure was really cool because everyone was so into it, and you would have thought they were like the real owners and GM in front offices of all the teams. Everyone was so into it and really enjoyed that. And it was cool for me to see because, like, you know, you get like the notification about a trade or like a huge, you know, free agency signing. You don't know what happens behind closed doors And even though ours was, kind of like a mock run through of it, like it is really intense. And I think I've never been a part of an atmosphere like that. So I think that was probably the best memory. And it was just a nice way to like end the week and kind of see everyone come together and talk with each other and yell at each other too, because people were getting so intense. So that was probably the best part.
For those listening who aren't familiar with the mock trade deadline, can you kind of explain what the format's like at SBC, the groups, how that all works?
I'll try my best to remember, so correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while. You get assigned a team within your group. And my team, I think you're Portland. Yeah, we were the Trailblazers. And this was like the summer that Damian Lillard hadn't decided where he was going yet. So we were like the team to look at. And you kind of just like run through, there's so many like goes into it. And all credit to my team, because since I was in media and broadcasting, I was at the arena all night while they were working on the project for the majority of the time. But you kind of go through and you got to look at salaries and like the cap and see like what potential trades you can do and what works and what's not, what couldn't work. You kind of have like a plan A and B, plan C, plan D, and keep going down the list. And, you prepare. And then when the day finally comes, and I think we had a limited amount of time for the deadline, you're all put in a room and it's just like rapid fire, people going around talking to people, making negotiations, seeing if the trade's complete, whatever. And then we had some SBC people like doing like Woj bombs, like saying stuff on the side and like kind of getting stuff. So yeah, it was just a really fun atmosphere. It was just like a huge like class project, but it felt real because it was all real information and nothing could be done just because it had to be like real and in the process that it actually goes in. So it was really cool.
Yeah, SBC is known for that hands-on approach and getting that hands-on experience. You talked about relationships and kind of just having to talk to everyone. But what about SBC helped you prepare to work professionally in the industry?
What helped me the most, because I really just like, if you think about it, like out of college, flew there and got into this, and my mom introduced me to this program. So I really didn't know much about it. I got out of college and I was like, I don't want to think about another assignment or notes or a lecture, but I'm so happy I did it because I really gave myself the opportunity to be put into a room of such extraordinary people and talk to them. And now I'm in a room, like, as you said, CAA is a great place to work at and just a great place overall. I'm put into these rooms now and I talk to people, I make my way around the room, and that's how you really grow your network and make connections and start connecting dots. It's, being in communication, you don't really have one sole job. You wear many hats. So I'd say that helped me the most, just really pushed me to learn about other people, but also putting myself out there.
With the NBA season coming up, what's your day in the life been at CAA? Just the preseason kind of leading up to these games?
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, now that it's the preseason, I feel like my days have slowed down because now there's more of a concrete schedule happening. Yeah. And the off season was way more busy, but now, I'm in the office more than I was in the off season. Since there really isn't as many appearances or like marketing off court things that I need to attend. But pretty much daily, I communicate and juggle deliverables and any like off court obligations for my brother, and anything that's, I like to call it like the more fun, creative stuff that's not basketball. So anything that he's doing off court, constantly communicating with those brands and like the partners that he has and seeing what's outstanding and what needs to be completed. and kind of staying organized with all that. I tend to slow down during the season just because the schedule is tougher. They're on the road a lot. I love to go to the games and support too, but it's kind of like a constant jigsaw puzzle and trying to find time to do things without messing up this insane schedule. Because it's 82 games, 41 away, 41 home, and they're like 3 to 4 times a week. It's constant. So my day changes every single day, but that's what I like about it. It's never the same thing twice. But I do enjoy today was a low key day. Just went to the office and did my thing. But yeah, it definitely changes.
Is that the most challenging part, kind of adapting to, you don't know what's going to happen next?
I think it can be challenging for some people. I personally don't view it as a challenge. I mean, people can, as we've seen over this off season, people's life can be changed. The snap of the finger, get traded, and their whole life changes. And I moved a lot as a kid, so I've always adapted to change really quickly because I had to. So I'm ready for any curveball that comes my way. You just kind of have to prepare for it. You can give yourself a second, but there's not a lot of turnaround time usually. So you kind of have to get with it and keep going.
Yeah, just kind of thrive in the adrenaline.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so then what's your favorite part, aside from, the spontaneity of it?
I don't know if this is cliche, but I'd say my favorite part is being able to work with my brother. I'm younger than him, so it's funny that I really tell him what to do now.
Yeah.
But, I think it's strength in numbers, really. Like, it's all hands on deck, and it takes a village to keep things running smooth. And he does an amazing job balancing everything, but that it's simply just my favorite part. Like, we're very close, so it makes my job easier. And it's always funny when I get into a meeting or introduced to someone on email chain or something, and they see like my email and they're like, do I ask if you're related or not? Like, is that, I mean, I don't want to assume, but I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I introduce myself as his sister 100% of the time because that's what's first. So yeah, that's my favorite part. It just puts a big smile on my face.
How has your relationship changed? Like you said, you were close and growing up. I'm sure you guys, hung out and all the sibling things, basketball together, that kind of thing. And now in the position you're in, how has that evolved over time?
Honestly, like, I didn't think I would ever do this, but after I I always knew I wanted to be in sports, and I'm a part of a big sports family, but I didn't know where my piece fit into all of it. But nothing has really changed. And I think that's all credit to like ourselves, but also our parents of just keeping us like, level-headed our entire lives. And yeah, like, I'll get annoyed with him and tell him to pick up the phone because he doesn't answer his phone at all. I'll call him like 5 times or text him 10 times. And I'm like, all right, I got to make a decision with or without you. So you got to live with it because you're not answering. But nothing has changed for the most part. I think it brings him a lot of comfort and, like, to know that I'm in his corner and he can kind of take a load off and not have to think too hard about what's happening.
You also help out with his foundation, Second Round Foundation. Can you explain to listeners what your mission is with that and how you guys work together?
Yeah, so the Second Round Foundation was founded by our mom and him about 2 years ago now, I think, or we're coming up on 2 years. And it's really my favorite part. One of my favorite parts about the foundation is the origin of its name, and the name Second Round came from Jalen being drafted in the second round in 2018, and a lot of people saw, he was kind of snubbed or like overlooked when the draft process was going on a couple years ago, but he saw that as an opportunity to like, okay, yeah, I was overlooked, I was doubted forever, and like no matter who doubts you, no matter the obstacles you encounter, the only thing you really need is the belief in yourself, and you can overcome anything. So that's where the origin of the name came from, which I find really inspiring. But overall, the foundation just strives to plant seeds into children, into equity, and really help them thrive outside the classroom, no matter what circumstance they come from, whether, they want to do it in sports, in academics, and in anything. So we do a lot of stuff with Covenant House in New York, the Dream School in New York, and, we're still growing. So it's a learning curve, but we've met so many people along the way and have had hundreds, almost I guess thousands of supporters, and really proud of what my mom and Jalen built and everyone else who's really supported us along the way.
What has been an especially fulfilling moment? Either a project you guys were doing, or maybe it was a meeting between your family and just like, wow, like this is really happening.
I would say, so many things, come across our desk or computer all the time. And there's such great opportunities where we collaborate with other foundations and other companies. But something that really just, I guess, shocked me was this past September 11th, Jalen participated in Cantor Fitzgerald's Charity Relief Fund Day. And, all the proceeds of that day go to the relief fund from 9/11. And they gave a generous donation to SRF. And I would say, like, a company like that on one of the most tragic days, that we mourn in the U.S. was just like, wow, like getting that email was like the recognition from that type of company was, I was really excited to share with everyone. Like, I mean, yes, the donation is great, but like we were all able to go there on that day in person and participate and meet some really amazing people. So that was a big one for me.
How has your role in a nonprofit helped you in your professional career? Kind of maybe just different perspective, or having things in place, knowing what to focus on?
Yeah, I think like, especially for what I do day to day, communicate with brands and communicate with the companies that he works with. A big part now of a lot of these collabs he does is the philanthropy aspect. Like, it's a conversation every time. Like, we try and incorporate that in everything we do because it's bigger than basketball. It's bigger than ourselves. And that's changed pretty much everything because I implement it into every conversation. And I get to introduce these people to our foundation, but also other foundations we work with too. So I'd say it definitely has changed that. And it always adds another component to what we're doing. So yeah, I do talk about that all the time, and it plays a big part.
Looking forward, what are you guys doing right now to grow the foundation, to grow your personal career? What are you focusing on now?
For the foundation, we're getting into like holiday season. So we're hoping to get some good stuff on the calendar and align it with the Knicks calendar too, to make sure we all are in person and can participate. But I would say a lot of the times, a lot of charity focused things comes around holiday time.
Yeah.
And, which we absolutely love. And we do like Thanksgiving dinner at Covenant House. We did that last year and served meals to all the youth there and stayed all night and played a bunch of games and just like sat and visited with them. But carrying it over just, past holiday times is really important too. So that's something we're always looking to do, and it's going to be a busy holiday season, but an exciting one. So still the planning stages for all that. But in my, I guess, personal or professional life, I take it one day at a time. And this is my first, NBA season with CAA. So I don't know what to expect. I'm really excited. And, you know, in a year, I could be talking about something totally different. I could have a different role. You know, it could shift. So, you know, I'm excited to see how this season plays out, and especially as the season goes on into next year, how my role stays the same or shifts at all.
I know you're taking it one day at a time, but what's something you're looking forward to this season?
You know, I mean, I love going to the Garden to watch the games. Like that's, there's no better feeling. But I also equally love watching it from home and like watching it on TV and getting the broadcast on TV. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to maybe just traveling to I love going to an arena I've never been to. So hopefully I get to cross off one this year, somewhere down the road. I haven't looked at the schedule too closely, but that's something I try and do, and go to a new city or a new arena that I haven't been to and watch a game. Anyone in particular? Into a dome, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like see what it's very spontaneous. Like, yeah. Well, for instance, last year, like we grew up in Chicago for 5 years, and I had never seen him play in Chicago, and he's played now for going on 7 years. So I've never seen him play in Chicago. And last year, and my family goes every single year. Somehow I never make the trip. And last year I dropped my mom to the airport when she flew to Chicago, and then I went home and went, I think I should go. And I packed my bag and booked a ticket and left that day. Oh my gosh. Very spontaneous, but I mean, I've been to United Center plenty of times, but that's my first time going to watch him play there. So yeah. I may just wake up and be like, you know what? I'm going to go here today. So I'm very fortunate I get to do that, but you never know. Yeah. No, that's really special. And I'm sure just seeing him brings back so many memories from your childhood, and seeing how far you've come in your career and his as well. So I'm sure that's really special for you. Yeah, it is. All right. Last thing, Erica, any piece of advice for people trying to enter the industry? You've built a name for yourself. You have this career. You're doing charity, doing a lot of amazing things, putting your effort towards where it counts. What's your advice to other people trying to enter? You know, I get this question a lot, and I feel like my answer tends to change. But, you know, I could sit here and say, you know, be open and try as many opportunities and grow your network and whatever. But I think my biggest piece of advice is to, you know, and I'm just particularly talking about basketball, but you can apply this to any sport, but to like understand the game of basketball. I think it seems so simple, but you'd be surprised a lot of people who work in sports don't know much about the sport. Really, they're working on other things, and I think that bit of knowledge goes a really long way, and you can use it to your advantage. And I think that shocks a lot of people. It shocked me, especially. Like, I would think everyone knows like everything, when the trade deadline is and when this happens, and you know, all this stuff, but a lot of people don't. So I'd say some advice is, even if you think you know, like, you probably don't, and just, you know, dive in a little deeper. I definitely don't know everything, but dive in a little deeper and tap into something that you don't know more about, and use it to your advantage. Because, you know, nowadays with social media, everyone is, you know, an NBA insider, and everyone knows everything. Yeah. The simple basics helps a lot, just in general knowledge, especially working in basketball. So I would definitely make sure you're in tune with that if you're passionate about it. Yeah. Well, Erica, that's a great place to leave off for our listeners. Thank you so much for coming on SBC Audio Experience. I had a great time talking to you, learning about your background and what's ahead. Good luck this season. I know scheduling, it's going to be a lot, but I'm sure you can handle it. Thank you so much, Riley. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to our VSL Talent Alumni Series with SBC alum Erica Brunson. I hope you enjoyed hearing about her introduction to the sports world and learned something new about what it takes to jumpstart your career in the sports industry. Make sure to share this episode with your friends, family, colleagues, and anyone else interested in the business of sports. Please like us on social media, subscribe, and leave a review.
You can find the show notes at sportsbusinessclassroom.com. Let us know if you listen, and if you enjoyed this episode, tag us on your Instagram story at Sports Business Classroom. Text it to a friend and spread the news of this year's SBC Business of Basketball Immersive Experience. This episode is also brought to you by Hall Pass Media, a full-service marketing agency that specializes in brand consulting, event management, digital marketing, and creative design. For more information on Hall Pass Media, go to hallpassnetwork.com.